Welcome back to the Men Unleashed podcast. My name is Reggie, and I am so excited that you've joined us today. Now, the Men Unleashed podcast is designed really for multiple purposes, but the main purpose is to create a community, a safe haven, if you will, for men to come to get uplifted, to get encouraged, to help direct their path back to the life that they want. Far too many times we have let life beat us down. We have let past failures, we have let past relationships and things that we haven't done, things that we have done, the shame that we carry just weigh us down. And I am here to say no more. I am here to say that leash that you've been living on in the little, uh, you know, little path that you've been on, we're going to break free of that. We're going to unleash the men. We're going to break through glass ceilings and we are going to help you just open up your mind, help you accomplish your goals, come to your side, create a community of like minded individuals. And I am so excited about this new episode that we're doing today because it's going to help. It's going to help a lot. It's about atomic habits. And before I jump into that, a quick little life update, if you will. I'm not busy enough, I guess, between work and kids and everything else. Um, I started another podcast because why not? It's called Coaching the Cowboy. So the coach portion is a good buddy of mine. His name's Josh. I'm the cowboy of Coaching the Cowboy. And that podcast, while there's going to be some similarities, um, there's going to be some differences too. And we talk sports on there. We talk men's issues. We talk, coaching and, bringing it into life situations. We have a segment called the Coach's Corner, where we talk to professionals, coaches or, people in the sports world. And it's a different dynamic. And if you know me, sports is a big part of my life. I love talking about sports. I think there's a lot of lessons that we can learn and things that we can glean from sports and put into everyday life. And it's a great forum. So it's a good back and forth. Josh and I, we have a lot of similar views, but we also think differently too. So it's a cool yin and yang kind of approach there. So it's called Coaching the Cowboy podcast. If you are just wanting more of my voice and thoughts and what's going on, please go check that out. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, and Coach and the Cowboy podcast. But today's episode of Men Unleashed is all about this book right here, Atomic Habits. Okay. Now, James Clear wrote this book. You probably heard of it. I mean, goodness gracious, it's just about everywhere. The tagline is tiny changes, remarkable results, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. And I really just want to dive into the book and just kind of talk about kind of how to build effective habits that actually stick. I mean, we all know what we should do, but how many of us actually do it? We all know what to eat, but how many actually follow through that? We know that exercising is better than not exercising. We all know what to do, but do we actually do it? And unless we hire, you know, Andy Elliott or David Goggins to follow us around and be a drill sergeant and beat us over the head over the decisions we're making or we choose not to do, creating habits are is going to be the only way that we are going to get to the point where we want to be. We need to set ourselves up to win. And just as important, if not more importantly, we need to set up our environment around us to win. Because here's the big idea of the book, and this is what I got from it, is that small incremental changes, they can and will have a significant impact on your life. Small improvements consistently, that's where you see changes. The key words in there, small improvements consistently. When I was typing up the notes for this, and when I was reading the book, it reminded me. There's a book called it's Dean Carnegie. He's got a book, Ultra Marathon. I forget exactly what it is. He's like a crazy marathon guy, like ultra marathon guy, like 100 miles plus. Anyways, he's talking about it, and he goes, most people don't have the ability to run like I do, 100 miles, 200 miles at a time, like without stopping. It's insane. He goes, but most people have the ability to run 1 mile, and they downplay that. Oh, if you would just run a mile, this say 5 days a week. I think my math is right on this. If you run 1 mile 5 days a week, that's 260 miles a year. Do you think you'll see results from that? Absolutely. 100%. Because when you do that consistently, you're going to see results. You're going to see changes. And here's the thing, good habits beget, nice little Christian term there. I think I've ever heard it used any other reference. Maybe there is. I don't know. Good habits beget more good habits. You build momentum. You start that snowball rolling downhill, and it picks up momentum and more snow, and it gets bigger, and it picks up more snow, and it gets bigger, and so on and so forth. Because when you go on that mile run, you're probably not coming home afterwards and smashing a bag of Doritos, eating a large pizza. I'm not saying you're going to be like some health nut, tree hugging, bark eating person, but like you're going to be eating better because you feel better. So there's 4 habits or 4 laws of change that are in the book. And I want to get through these and just think about them in your own life. Okay. And then we're going to go through some examples and go from there. Number 1 is Q. Okay. So there's a circle of, 1 goes to 2, goes to 3, goes to 4. Okay. So this is how you create the snowball, is you need to Q, which is CUE, make your good habits obvious and visible. You need to design your environment. Okay. Number 2 is craving. So you go from Q to craving, which is making the new habit more attractive. Be in like-minded groups or where the habits are commonplace. Okay. And then craving goes to response, which is make the new habit easy. You need to lower the barrier of entry for that new habit. Okay. And then it goes to reward, which is to make a new habit satisfying. So when you complete that, you have a little reward. And then it goes back up to Q again, and you keep going in that circle. And that's how you create momentum. That's how you create that snowball effect. So the thing about it is you need to, okay, I talked about running earlier. Let's stay with the running example because it works in well here. Make your good habits obvious and visible. Design your environment, right? So here's a good example. Set your clothes out the night before. Have your alarm set. Go to bed knowing you're getting up at X time if you're running in the morning. I'm just going to use that example. and know what you're going to do. Make the new habit more attractive. Have a running group. If you have a running store in your, where you live or whatever, a lot of times, or just hop on Facebook, there's running groups everywhere. They don't cost anything. It's just a bunch of people who get together and run. Be surround yourself with people that are doing this new habit where it's commonplace. You need to lower, and number 3 was response, which lower the make the new habit easier. So you need to lower the barrier of entry, right? So if you go from no running to joining a running group that's running 15 miles at a time, that's not going to work. You need to join like the beginner club, like the half walk, half run club. Like that's what you need to do. You don't need to go out and try to run 4 miles after not running for 10 years. Be smart about it. Lower that barrier of entry. Small habits. And then reward is make your new habit satisfying. And I'm not saying you got to eat a small reward is not a double cheeseburger after you get done running, right? If you want to get healthier, have a habit tracker. Print out a calendar and check it off. Keep track of it. So at the end of the month, you can look back and go, man, I did really good. Or man, I didn't do really good. And that's how we can start creating these changes. Okay. You need to start in the book, it talks about habit stacking. Okay. Now think about this. Let's say you want to be more mindful. You want to be more present, more focused in the moment. Maybe you need to meditate. Okay. So here's a little hack. When you're making coffee in the morning, most people drink coffee, which is cool. I like coffee. Instead of, when you go downstairs or, go over to make coffee, instead of hopping on your phone during that time or going back to the bathroom and finish getting ready or, whatever it may be, just take that time, that 60 seconds, that 2 minutes, however long your coffee pot takes or your Keurig or whatever you got going on there. Make that your time to meditate. Make that your time to slow your mind down. What if you want to read more? How about you put the book that you want to read underneath your pillow? If you put it underneath your pillow, it's you're not going to sleep with it there. You're going to put your head down and then it's going to hit the book. And then you're like, got to read. Here we go. And that's what you need to do. You need to incorporate your new habit into your existing habits. Stack your habits together. The next thing it talks about is accountability. You need to hold yourself accountable. One of the best ways to do this is to track what you're doing. Again, if you print out a calendar, then you have it there and you can see the trends. And maybe you can set yourself up to win because maybe you want to, run 5 days a week, but it doesn't quite work out in your schedule yet because of X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. That rhymes. So set yourself up to win and see trends when you can. Maybe sometimes you can go in the morning. Maybe sometimes you got to go at night, whatever it may be. Maybe you need to hire a coach, an accountability coach. Maybe you need to have friends that check in on you. Maybe because there's technology out there that you need to send yourself an automated text. Did you do your goal today? Did you accomplish X? Did you make these sales calls? Did you, whatever? I don't know what your goals are, but these little things, little check ins that you need to have for yourself to hold yourself accountable. Another thing is you need to set your environment up to win. If, weight loss, big one for a lot of people. If you want to stop eating chips at night because you know that it's not healthy, or ice cream, or whatever food item you want to talk about here, then you simply don't buy it. You want to know how you stop eating Doritos? You don't buy Doritos. If you don't want to eat ice cream at night anymore, then don't buy it when you go to the grocery store. If you want to start exercising, then, like I said earlier, sit your clothes out the night before. Again, lower the barrier of entry. If you know you're weak, then don't buy the food. If you know you're going to come up with every excuse and the bed's warm and I don't have my clothes and what am I going to wear? And oh, I don't have clothes, then you're probably just going to stay in bed. But if you have everything set up, you have your calendar or your alarm set, the odds of you getting up are a lot higher. Maybe you need to literally take that accountability calendar and you need to tape it to the bathroom mirror. So when you get up and you go to the bathroom, then you walk over, wash your hands, you should be washing your hands. You look up, that accountability calendar is staring you right in the face. And it's saying, hey, did you do this? Don't go on a streak without doing your goal, creating those small habits and making that happen. All right. Next, we need to change our mindset. All right. We need to identify with our new habits that we want. You need to talk like you are that person. You need to see yourself doing that work. You know, great example. I was listening to Mel Robbins' podcast. Highly recommend. She was talking about um, visualization and goals, and it was kind of fascinating because I'd never really heard this before. But you need to visualize yourself overcoming the resistance to accomplish your new habit. That's a lot of words. What does that mean? You need to let's stick with running because it's an easy one and everybody can relate to this. If your goal is to run in the New York City, the Boston Marathon, whatever it is, I don't care. Most times you would think, I need to visualize myself crossing the finish line. I need to see myself at the starting line at the New York City Marathon, at, whatever you want to put there. Okay. But what she talks about, and this makes so much sense, she goes, no, that could be the end goal. Okay, that's fine. But you need to visualize yourself 2 weeks from now when it's raining and it's cold or it's snowing or it's sleeting or, whatever's going on. And it's 5 a.m. and you know that you've got to get up and run 3 miles today. You need to visualize yourself getting out of bed when it's cold, when you know it's raining, and it'd be a heck of a lot easier just to stay in bed. You need to visualize yourself overcoming the resistance to accomplish the new habit, that new standard of what you want to be. And that's how you can guard yourself up because you've already been there. So when you actually are in that situation, when you are in bed and it is, 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever time frame, or you get home from work and, it's been a long day and you don't want to go to the gym. And your goals don't have to be fitness. Okay. I'm just doing that because, again, it's super relatable. Everybody can understand what the heck I'm talking about here. But this could be from work goals to your relationship goals to spiritual goals to whatever it may be. Okay. You need to visualize yourself overcoming those resistance, because then when you're actually in those situations, your mind can say, I've been here before and I overcame it. See, your mind doesn't know the difference between what actually has happened and what has not happened. It just knows that it's seen this movie before. And if you train your brain to overcome the resistance to accomplish your new habit, you're ahead of the game. You need to start small, but here's the thing with your goal planning. You need to be consistent. Okay. The big idea is this: focus on systems, set yourself up to win. Focus on your daily habits and not the overall goal. Have the goal in mind, but focus on systems and how am I going to make these daily habits stick? How am I going to hold myself accountable? And be realistic with yourself. So my question to you is, what habits are you wanting to implement? What changes in your life are you desiring to see? Hey, comment on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Comment, or send an email. There's going to be the emails in the show notes there on Spotify or on YouTube. And just let me know. Hey, this is a two-way conversation. This isn't just me talking to you. I'm here to help. This community is here to help. And we want nothing more but to see you create new habits, small habits, new accountability, shift that tide. Most people, and I've heard Tony Robbins talk about this too, most people overestimate what they can do in a year. So they think, I can make these massive changes in my life in 1 year. Most people can't. But in addition to that, most people, almost everyone, underestimates what they can accomplish in 2 and 3 and 5 and 10 and plus years. So that tells me it's going to take time to shift, but when we do, the compounding interest of those small changes and those small changes and those small changes and the small changes, they start adding up over time. And you start stacking wins, new habits. And before you know it, it's 2 years, it's 3 years, it's 5 years down the road. And you think, I really didn't do crazy, a Saul to Paul transformation, a 180. But it was those small changes, those little 1 degree incremental changes. And before you know it, we're headed this direction instead of that direction. Hey, this is the Men Unleashed podcast. I appreciate you listening. Make sure, again, we're creating a community here. Feel free to reach out. Emails in the show notes. We'll see you next time.